So I had second thoughts about starting the technical drawings. Let's finish the idea of these renderings. And the whole reason for this exercise is to prepare you for studio work and other design work using BIM modelers so that you can express your design, in projects in studio. And so one of the other things to look at is this kind of control you have over the way your renderings look. So we're going to now change our rendering style to something that's much more I guess earlier looking in the process, sketched out without any kind of materials on the building, suggesting that you haven't finalized ideas, you're just kind of, well, literally sketching them out. So let's go back to Revit. And I've saved this file already, and what I want to do is we're going to go on a path that's going to take us towards these sketching type renderings. But then later on, when we get into the next project, we're going to want this style of rendering again. So I'm going to suggest that you save this file and then start a file that is just about sketching. So I'm going to save this one, and then I'm going to go to File and do a Save As, and I'm going to call this Sketch Render. And that'll leave our this one untouched, the original. And you've already hopefully made a PDF of this one, so you'll have it. You won't have to go back to it necessarily for that, but just for the technical drawings. So let's go ahead and look at how we're going to do some modifications to that. And actually, I'll just pick this rendering up here at the top. I'm going to double click into it, and I'm going to go to the rendering settings down on the bottom here and open up that palette. And we're going to go to that sketch mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the edges back on, because those are the things that are going to look like sketch lines. And I'm going to go to shaded rendering, which is going to remove all the color from our drawing. And I'll just kind of zoom in here. Hold on, well, I can't zoom and keep this palette open. So I'll do that. Now I'll just pull in here a little bit and then open that palette again. And let's go ahead and do some sketching on it, or change it to sketching. And I'm going to kind of exaggerate that for this example. I'm going to turn these up to 5, the jitter and the extension of the lines, and hit apply. So you can get an idea of the concept that's going on here. We'll leave the settings basically the same from there. And we'd like to really apply this kind of a template, this idea of the sketching as a template. So you have that option. So I'm going to save view as a template. And I'm going to call it Sketch. Now, this won't be able to apply to every drawing. This is for something that is in a model view. A dialog box will open, and it'll give you options for, things that you can leave visible. And you can actually change a lot of the settings about what shows and what doesn't show. And we're not going to really dig into this right now, but know that it's available. We'll just say OK to keep the settings we have. And I'm going to close this off now. We have our sketch rendering, and I'm going to deactivate the view. And then I'm going to try to apply that sketch rendering technique to the big drawing on the background. So once again, I'll double click into that one, and I'll select the view template of Sketch and hit apply. And now that has the sketch rendering technique to it also. And the front isn't very bright, so let's go ahead and make a bunch of adjustments to this. I'm going to go to the graphic display options, and you're going to notice that we don't have control over everything. It's all grayed out. So I'll go cancel on that, because what we want to do is, now that we've applied the basic sketch ideas from this setting to that setting, we want to modify a few things. And so the way to do that is to turn off that view template, turn it back to none, and click OK. And now we can edit the rendering settings. It's already applied the sketch settings, and it doesn't undo that. So that's a helpful way for us to get somewhere quickly. And then we'll go in and back to the display options, and we'll make some modifications. And like I said, it didn't look very bright on the front of the building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the ambient light and possibly turn down the shadows, and hit apply, and that looks a lot better. You notice how wavy the lines are. It looks good. We need a little background, or I want to add a little background. So in this time, I'll do a gradient, and hit apply, and we'll see what that looks like. not bad, but let's say we want to go to maybe a color that's more like parchment paper or vellum. All right. And now we'll click OK. And we've got two more drawings to finish up with the idea of sketch. You also notice that my name here is kind of faded out. So one of the things we could do there to enhance that, go back to this rendering view, go back to our background, and actually just darken it up. So I'll pull this darker. Probably doesn't need to be that much. Click OK and apply. And that helps to pop the type that we have there at the bottom. Now I'd like to apply that sketch rendering technique to this other one. Let me deactivate this view. Activate this one. But that view template isn't going to be available to us, and that's because it is a different view of that model, and it has with it its own types of presentations. So we'll just ignore using a template for this example of this change, and we'll just go to the graphic display options, and we'll set things similar to the other ones. So we'll go to shaded. I'll hit apply so you can see that right away. I never put shadows on this, and I think that'll help it a lot. So I'm just going to apply a few shadows. The lighting is a bit deep, so I'm going to turn the shadows way down and brighten the building up so it kind of matches our other building better. And now we have that little bit of shadow detail going on there. It makes it look nice. And of course, we got to turn on our sketchy lines. So we're going to enable that, and I think we were doing them at 5. So I'll go ahead and apply it at 5. Okay, and then deactivate that view. And then come to this one and activate it. And then apply the same kind of things here. So we'll go to shaded. We've already got our shadows. Our shadows are walking onto the wrong side of this building. So let's fix our lighting. Put it from the top left. Move the shadow off in the other direction. So, well, it really doesn't matter. It's kind of in conflict with the other one. Let me just cancel out of that. We'll leave it on that side. I guess it's not going to change that, or it's going to stick with that. I'm going to revert it back. Excuse me. Okay, so once again, we need our sketchy lines. The extension is how far that line runs off on the edge, like just as you would with a sketch, not an abrupt end at each point. And it all looks pretty good, so I'm going to hit apply. The only thing I don't like are those really deep shadows, so let's pull those way back. There, that looks a lot better. I'll just richen it up a little bit. Okay, so once again, deactivate the view. And I'll do ZE, zoom extents, or I'll try to. I'm gonna right click out of this and cancel because I seem to be in something. And then I'll hit, not for some reason, I'm not sure what's going on. I can't zoom extents of this. There it goes. Okay, so that's what I'd like to see for that experimentation. And once again, it's not limited to just going from a hyper-realistic or a realistic rendering to a sketch rendering. It could be any kind of variations there. Just the idea of starting to get you to experiment with those techniques. So once again, we'll export this. So we'll go to File, just Review, Export, PDF. And I'm always losing my navigation to the right place here. So let me just quickly get there. Yeah, I'm a little confused. Sorry. That's C4 in progress. Once again, I'll move my big head so we can see the open. And it's set to be called the sketch render because that's the name of the file. Once again, zoom it. Make sure we have the right sheet size, architectural D. And we could probably check to make sure that we have the right sheet. And export. and I won't save it just because of the idea of being able to show that again the next time. And that's going to take some time to write, and I might hit pause, and then we'll review that. And that's completed rendering, and I have it now up on the screen. We can super zoom in here and see what it looks like for sharpness. You can see those wavy lines now. Actually, let's put it at 100% because that would be what it would look like if we were to print it out. So you can see those are reading. Now here's some kind of ugly, nasty things that happen. The transparency of the windows, they're not really rendering well here. And I don't have a good reason for that. They should not be pixelating like that. It could be because of the idea of it being a P, trying to hold the transparency to the background. And then it doesn't do that with all of them, so I'm a little lost when I see that. Because now I have, it's only in that image because over here we're not getting that same kind of effect. Okay, so this is fine for submission. And once again, I'd remind you to kind of abandon this one drawing now, the sketch one, and go back to the other version. And if you didn't save another version, one of the ways to go backwards would be to just do a bunch of undos. So I'm just going to save this because I do want to keep it. And I want to show you how to do a lot of undos. So I'll click on the undo button here. Get on the right screen. And we can go down and change all as far as we want to go, as far as the changes of visual style. I have 16 undo commands, and we're back to where we started. But once again, this was a sketch one, so I really didn't want to go back there. But if you ever do want to go back before you exit out of it, you have all of those undos available to you.